Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about a topic which I've mentioned. It's going to be a bit about, the saturation of recruitment. And I've made a few points before in previous videos, and I've said recruitment is an oversaturated market. And I've said to people, do not go for the big dogs, do not go for the massive sort of sectors. Avoid them, find a little small niche and operate in that. Now, I wanted to make this clear because I had a conversation with someone earlier today on a coaching call, and they said to me, look, I want to go into this because I've got my specialism, I've got the background knowledge in IT basically. And they said to me, you advise not to. And I was actually on the call specific to that person. I was saying to them, no, you have to go. That's the only niche for you. You have to go into it. And he started saying, very good questions. He started saying to me, it's oversaturated. There's so many big players. He was naming the players. He works at an agency. He was saying to me, oh, I know this agency. I know that agency. They own this client, that client. Or they don't own the client. But they're working with these clients. They've been working with for years. They won't use anyone else. What do I do? How would I get in with that? Also, we was looking at a small subsector of IT, which he had a specialism in. And of course, that would be very tough. It would be very difficult. He said, look, I want to be the 100th. I want to be number one. And if we look down at it and the market share of recruitment in terms of the spend, now, if we're looking at the 2019 figures in the UK, it was a close to £40 billion spent on recruitment agencies. A lot of it was temp or contract, but a lot of it was permanent as well. Now, if we take into consideration what we're looking at with that is a huge number of spends on agencies. Now, if we take, let's say 40, let's cut it in half and say 20 billion pounds was spent on agencies. Even then we can say 10 billion was spent because we want to exclude the big massive agencies that have the large market share. Now, the question comes down to, do you want to be number one tomorrow, or do you want to be, you're going to end up the 50th best agency, or maybe the 5,000th best agency? The question is, you can still make money in that sector, whether it's saturated or not. And that goes down to the point that I didn't illustrate when I was saying to people, don't go into the niche, don't go into that market, because it will be slightly higher. Now, I look at things where if you're going to put 100 hours of work in, you're going to get a better result. And that was the point I was trying to illustrate. So recruitment, yes, in the UK is very, very saturated, extremely saturated, in fact. However, there is hardly any good competition out there as well. And that's another point I want to sort of make. In terms of competition, I worked at agencies years ago. I've worked in a number of agencies. I worked in agencies where they're, so basically a startup. I've worked in an agency where it's been long established, but they're just floating along. No one's really making any money. Also, I've worked at some big corporate style recruitment agencies. Not massive, but, not a sort of a household name. What I found was there was no high performer. There was no one actually making good money. I saw someone bill maybe £5,000. That was the top of that. Other than that, it was always me at the top. By far, it was me. I was winning more clients than the whole team put together. I was working on more jobs than the whole team put together. I don't say that to boast, but naturally, the good performing recruiters end up starting their own business. Essentially, they just start their own agency. It's so easy to start. Most people, typically, they work at a company for 2 years, not even 2 years, sometimes 6 months to about a year. And then they say, I'm going to take these clients with me. They set up a meeting and they start their own agency and they've got their client foothold. They start billing and they hire people. That's literally 90% of what people do if they've got industry experience. And what that happens is that naturally they start to feel like, hold on a minute, I'm getting a small percentage. I'm making, 6 figures for my boss and I'm getting, 10, 20,000 pounds on top of my basic wage. So they don't really look at valuing. So what happens is all the high performers go off and start their own business, whether they do it morally, ethically, whatever. They go off and start their own business. So essentially, your competition, if you're looking at a client and they've got 2 or 3 recruitment agencies on it, your chances are you're competing with a graduate with 6 months experience. And that's the bottom line. The only advantage they may have over you starting your new recruitment agency is they have a database to go off. However, most recruitment agencies use the same sort of methods. Contingency recruiters, that is. They go after the same market. They might, mail shot their database, but there is literally no competition out there. I don't look at, you probably couldn't name me a recruitment consultant, even at a senior principal level, that is a household name, that anyone knows of, that you can go on their LinkedIn and say, that's a really good recruiter. Sure, you can do that with business owners, but you can't actually do that with recruitment consultants because the light bulb clicks. The only people working for people in recruitment agency, people that can't really bill that well. People that will never hit that 100K mark in their pocket, let alone billings. And the most I saw, just mathematically, because I was at this position where I was doing reports on my consultants in my team. And, the average for the year, best performer was about $6,000. That's about, per month on average. That's probably 1 or 2 placements per month. So in order to be a high performer and sustain a business, you can actually do half of that. So you can make 1 placement a month. Now, going back to the first point I made of should you actually want to be in a saturated market, the answer is it's up to you. Now, I can obviously give you advice around it. I would say unless you have industry experience, don't go into a sector like IT where it's saturated. If you've got industry experience, yeah, go into it because you'll eventually win a client. And from what I see, everyone wins clients. Literally, anyone that doesn't give up wins clients. And clients will always give you a chance because there is a huge demand for talent in the UK. The type of recruitment we do in the UK, it doesn't work. And with the unemployment rate high and low, it's still the same story. We don't get that many applicants to job boards. Job boards are dying off. Most people in the UK find jobs through referrals. Sometimes the big companies will have a good, structure, or people will apply directly on the website. I think last year was the first time that job boards actually done well. In comparison to companies' own websites and their HR portals. That's only because of the pandemic. Unemployment was up. However, the last 3-4 years, the case has been where most of the people that get in jobs actually through referrals or directed to the company's website. So job boards don't actually work, and most recruiters actually use job boards. So if you can be that LinkedIn recruiter, don't forget the USA are very LinkedIn heavy, and everyone knows that the USA are 5 years ahead of us in terms of recruitment. We just copy what they do. And that's why I'm successful here, because I copy all the US companies and how they recruit. It is imperative that everyone looks at recruitment and says, I can make it in this industry. It's not so much the fact of, hey, this is saturated, that's saturated. Of course, pick your right niche, but you can still make money being the 5,000th biggest recruiter. 2 or 3 clients and you do well. There is a huge amount of underserved clients out there in terms of, agencies taking a mick. People get fired from their job. No one takes over their account. So it's a lot of people getting left behind. And a lot of agencies are just sitting on clients and not serving them well because they've got inexperienced recruiters. As far as I'm concerned, if I win a client and they sell me Hayes, Reed, or, a local company of recruiting, it doesn't bother me. It's literally, I can't see them as competition. I never will. Whether you're a freelance recruiter, whether you run a business, there is no competition in recruitment. However, it's majorly saturated. I think that would probably be the best way to say it. So even if it is saturated, you can take over with hard work, dedication. You will be the #1 recruiter. So I hope this video made sense. Me rambling on, I just wanted to empty my thoughts on it, and I hope someone finds value in this video. So all in all, take care. Hope you enjoyed the video.